dan mentadbir alam sekalian. Tiada berlaku sesuatu melainkan dengan kehendak dan kekuasaan daripada-Mu jua. Kepada Engkaulah sebenar-benarnya tempat kami meletakkan harapan dan memohon pertolongan. Ya Allah, apalah kiranya dengan kemurahan-Mu Engkau anugerahkan kepada kami sebaik-baik ilham dan fikiran, dan berikanlah kami sebaik-baik pimpinan untuk menjalankan tugas dan kewajipan kami. Mudahkan kepada kami segala kerumitan dalam menyelesaikan persoalan-persoalan yang diperbahaskan di dalam sidangan kami ini, dan sampaikanlah kami kepada kata sepakat dan tujuan-tujuan yang muktamad demi untuk kepentingan dan kebaikan negara. Seterusnya, kepada Engkaulah juga kami harapkan agar segala usaha dan cita-cita kerajaan dalam rancangan-rancangan pembangunannya akan berhasil dan berjaya untuk membawa kemakmuran, keadilan dan kebahagiaan kepada rakyat seluruhnya. Amin.
Pemasyuran daripada Tuan Speaker.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi dan salam sejahtera. Honorable members, understanding order 12(1) and (2), government business shall take precedence over private members' business, and government business shall be set down in such order as the government thinks fit and communicates to the Secretary. 4 days, that is, today, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, this week are set aside for the daily 1-hour question time. Wednesday, Thursday and Friday this week shall be devoted to debate on the budget. The ministerial replies shall take the remaining 3 days next week, that is, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. Ahli yang berhormat, I have granted leave of absence understanding order 81 to Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri Dr. Abang Haji Abdul Rahman Zuhari bin Tun Datuk Abang Haji Openg, Premier of Sarawak and Honourable Member for N26 Gedong, and Yang Berhormat Datuk Insino Adel Leriwu, Deputy Minister for Infrastructure, Development and Honourable Member for N24 Sadung Jaya for today and tomorrow sitting.
Pertanyaan-pertanyaan bagi jawapan-jawapan lisan.
Yang Berhormat Puan Dayang Nur Azah binti Pangeran Masyhur Lingga.
Terima kasih Tan Sri Datuk Amal Speaker. Soalan saya nombor 1.
Tan Sri Datuk Amal Speaker, untuk makluman ahli yang berhormat bagi Lingga, Sarawak sememangnya mempunyai pelbagai jenis beras tradisional tempatan yang mempunyai keistimewaan dari segi bentuk, aroma, warna, tekstur dan kualiti pemakanan. Di antara jenis beras yang digemari adalah Bario, Bajong, Biris dan Wai. Dengan keistimewaan tersebut, beras tempatan ini adalah dikategorikan sebagai beras premium untuk pasaran niche, pasaran istimewa. Kementerian saya melalui Jabatan Pertanian Sarawak sentiasa berusaha untuk membantu memasarkan beras premium tempatan ini sama ada untuk pasaran tempatan maupun luar negara. Antaranya ialah dengan menghubungkan syarikat swasta dengan para petani bagi membantu mempromosikan beras premium tersebut ke pasaran luar negara, contohnya melalui Sarawak Trade and Tourism Office Singapore, status di Singapura. Bagi pasaran tempatan, selain dijual sendiri oleh para petani, beras-beras tersebut juga boleh didapati di peladang e-shop yang diuruskan oleh Pertubuhan Peladang Negeri Sarawak, PPNS, dan 4 buah Pertubuhan Peladang Kawasan, PPK, iaitu PPK Batang Lupar, PPK Kelakar, PPK Meradong dan juga PPK Daro. Berkenaan penyelarasan harga pula berbeza dengan beras putih tempatan, BPT. Contohnya jenis Malaysian Rice 269, MR 269, keluaran Institut Penyelidikan dan Kemajuan Pertanian Malaysia, MARDI. Harga beras tradisional tempatan Sarawak tidak tertakluk kepada Akta Kawalan Padi dan Beras 1994. Oleh itu, harganya adalah mengikut tawaran dan permintaan, supply and demand. Secara amnya, harga runcit bagi beras tradisional tempatan adalah melebihi ringgit Malaysia 15 1 kilogram. Ianya bergantung kepada varieti beras tersebut. Sebagai contoh, harga runcit bagi beras Bario yang dihasilkan di kawasan tinggi Bario boleh mencecah sehingga ringgit Malaysia 28 sekilogram di Bandaraya Kuching dengan mengambil kira kos logistik. Dengan pengapungan harga beras tempatan ini, para petani dapat menikmati pendapatan yang lebih dan diharap terus kekal dalam aktiviti penanaman padi tradisional tempatan. Perkara ini sangat penting memandangkan penghasilan padi masih rendah di Sarawak, iaitu pada kadar kurang 5% daripada keseluruhan pengeluaran padi negara, serta melibatkan kos pengeluaran padi yang tinggi. Sungguh pun demikian, Kementerian saya melalui Jabatan Pertanian Sarawak bersedia untuk meneroka varieti padi hybrid yang berpenghasilan tinggi daripada negara luar yang boleh beradaptasi dengan keadaan tempatan bagi meningkatkan pengeluaran padi dan beras di Sarawak, sebagaimana yang dinyatakan oleh Yang Amat Berhormat Premier dalam pembentangan belanjawan pada 20 November 2023. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih kepada Yang Berhormat Perdana Menteri. Saya mempunyai 2 soalan tambahan. Yang pertama, apakah ciri-ciri perbezaan varieti padi tempatan Sarawak dibandingkan varieti Malaysia Rice MR sedia ada? Yang kedua, apakah syarat-syarat untuk mengimport benih padi daripada negara luar? Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Yang Berhormat bagi Lingga. Bagi menjawab soalan yang pertama, varieti padi tradisional Sarawak mempunyai ciri-ciri seperti berikut. Pertama, tempoh matang yang panjang, iaitu antara 150 hingga 180 hari selepas ditanam. Yang kedua, dapat menyesuaikan dengan keadaan persekitaran setempat. Yang ketiga, pelbagai saiz dan bentuk bulir dan warna. Yang keempat, kualiti pemakanan yang baik seperti beras bajong yang dipercayai mempunyai kandungan antioksidan yang tinggi. Dan yang kelima, mempunyai harga premium di pasaran. Tak ada soalan yang kedua? Ada? Ada. Tak dengar. Soalan kedua, syarat berkenaan syarat. Untuk makluman ahli yang berhormat bagi Lingga. Kerajaan Sarawak melalui Jabatan Pertanian Sarawak memain peranan dalam melindungi sumber pertanian dan ekosistem di Sarawak daripada risiko-risiko melibatkan biosecurity tumbuhan termasuk penyakit tumbuhan dan serangan makhluk perosak. Pengimportan benih tempatan termasuk padi adalah tertakluk kepada Plan Quarantine Act 1976 dan Plan Quarantine Regulation Act 1981. Oleh itu, bagi pengimportan tumbuhan, produk pertanian artikel terkawal dan ekosistem yang tidak tersenarai dalam sistem e-permit dan dari destinasi asal yang baru, maka satu Pest Risk Analysis (PRA) akan dijalankan melalui proses Verification of Compliance (VOC) yang memerlukan lawatan tapak ke negara asal. Dan setelah proses VOC selesai, pengimport tersebut perlu membuat permohonan permit import melalui sistem e-permit. Kementerian melalui Jabatan Pertanian Sarawak bersedia untuk membantu mempermudahkan proses pengimportan benih yang tersebut. Terima kasih.
Yang berhormat Encik Adam Yee, Pujut.
Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker, my question is number 2.
Terima kasih, Tan Sri Speaker. Terima kasih ahli yang berhormat daripada Pujut. For the information of the honourable member from Pujut, the current airport is designed to cater up to 2 million passengers per annum, that is MPPA. It is recorded that passenger movement exceeded the airport's design capacity in 2019, with 2,434,497 passengers. On 30th of June 2023, a delegation from the Ministry of Transport Sarawak, led by the Minister of Transport Sarawak, had paid a courtesy call to the Federal Minister for Transport Malaysia. And during that meeting, YB Minister for Transport Sarawak had highlighted and forwarded the proposed Miri Airport Optimization Plan, or Airport Expansion Plan, for their consideration and support. The Federal Minister had assured that this project will be their priority project in obtaining a location from the federal government under the 12th Malaysia Plan. The proposed upgrade involves an increase in terminal capacity from 2 million passengers per annum to 3 million passengers per annum. And the proposed scope of works for the expansion comprises A new building extension and upgrading of the Rural Air Services RAS area. B, additional new check-in counters, CIC. C. New officers area, signages and wayfinding. D. New baggage handling system, BHS. E. Improvement and upgrading works at first floor departure hall area. F. Pier expansion and additional passenger boarding bridge, PBB. And last but not least, automation towards Airport 4.0. This Miri Airport Optimization Plan or Airport Expansion Plan is only for a short-term plan. The Ministry of Transport Sarawak and Malaysia Airport Holdings Berhad, MAHB, are working together for a long-term plan to build a new international airport terminal for Miri. Thank you.
Thank you, YB Dr. Gerard Susil, Deputy Transport Minister Sarawak. I have two supplementary questions. Question number one, what is the estimated cost of the proposed Miri Airport Optimization Plan? Question number two, what are the immediate measures taken by Malaysian Airports Holding Berhad, MAHB, to upgrade Miri Airport? Thank you.
Thank you, Member from Bujut, for your two supplementary questions. For the first question, the estimated cost of the proposed Miri Airport Optimization Plan for the 12th Malaysia Plan is RM 60 million. For your second question, among the immediate measures and projects taken by MAHB that has been completed in 2023 are: 1. The rehabilitation of existing concrete slab at the parking apron and its associated works at Miri Airport for Bay 2. 2. The installation of an additional 32 closed-circuit television, cameras, CCTV at the new area of the passenger-covered walkway, Control Post 1, Centralized Utility Building CUB of the Miri Airport. 3. The upgrading of the storage CCTV system at Miri Airport. And 4. The replacement of the existing roofing at South and Mass Cargo substation. 5. The replacement of carpet at 3 units of passenger boarding bridge at this PBB. Thank you.
Yang Berhormat Datuk Mong Dagang, Bukit Bangunan.
Tan Sri Speaker, my question is number 3.
Terima kasih, Tan Sri Speaker, sir. For the information of Ahli Yang Berhormat for Bukit Bangunan, before we embark in any green investments or green projects, we have to prepare 4 frameworks. The first framework is the legal framework, and we have done so since last year. The second framework would be the technical framework, and we are still in the process. The third framework would be the finance, investment, business, and taxation framework. And the fourth framework is the human resource framework. So for the foreign direct investment framework, SCDC Energy has 2 hydrogen projects at the Petchem Industrial Park in Bintulu. The first one is the partnership with the consortium of companies from South Korea with a proposed investment of RM 11.3 billion. The Joint Development Agreement, JDA, was signed on the 16th of October 2023. The other partnership is with the Japanese investors, also known as the Hornbill Project, with a proposed investment of RM 8.5 billion. The Joint Development Agreement, JDA, was signed on the 25th of October 2023. There is also a partnership with Petronas Technology Ventures Sdn Bhd with a proposed FDI of RM30 million and a direct domestic investment DDI of RM100 million. So the total investment amounts to RM130 million. The Ministry of International Trade, Industry and Investment, MINTRAD, is also discussing with an Australian investor on its proposed hydrogen project worth RM5.6 billion in Samalaju Industrial Park. The factors driving our FDI in Sarawak are its stable government, business-friendly investment policies, efficient government machinery, availability of natural and renewable resources, young talented workforce, and the availability of land for development purposes. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I have two supplementary questions. Anyway, thank you very much, Deputy Minister. Other than hydrogen, what other foreign direct investments is planned for the energy transition? And my question number two, how will the local companies and communities benefit from this project? Thank you.
Thank you, Tan Sri Speaker. For the information of Ahli Yang Berhormat for Bukit Bagunan, the other main investments will be in carbon capture, usage and storage, CCUS, biotechnology, including the joint venture with Chitose at Sejingkat Power Plant on the SAF microalgae project. Additionally, the Sarawak government intends to intensify the installation of solar, floating solar, and also maybe even offshore wind to further reunify our energy grid, which will need major investments from both the local and international partners. For the second supplementary question, local companies and communities will benefit from jobs and business opportunities from the economic spin-off created to support the projects and the expansion of the supply chain, both upstream and downstream activities. The added value of knowledge and expertise learned from working in the clean energy sector can accelerate the move towards a service-oriented economy. Thank you.
Yang Berhormat Encik Roland Duat Meluan.
Terima kasih, Tan Sri Speaker. Soalan saya nombor 4.
Terima kasih, Tan Sri Speaker. Untuk makluman ahli yang berhormat bagi N48 Meluan, pada masa ini, Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia, KPM, belum ada perancangan untuk pemasangan perkhidmatan Starlink kerana Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia masih mempunyai kontrak perkhidmatan dengan syarikat telekomunikasi sehingga 30 Jun 2024. Bagi SK Ulu Untabai, SK Nangaju, SK Nangamau, SK Nangansering dan SK Nangajambu, pada masa ini capaian internet adalah dengan menggunakan perkhidmatan syarikat telekomunikasi yang telah dilantik.
Tan Sri, saya ada 2 soalan tambahan. Satu, bagaimanakah prestasi perkhidmatan internet yang ada di sekarang di sekolah tersebut? Soalan kedua, apakah tindakan yang boleh dilakukan untuk menyediakan liputan di sekolah tersebut?
Terima kasih, Tan Sri Speaker. Bagi menjawab soalan tambahan, pertama, bagaimanakah prestasi perkhidmatan internet yang ada sekarang di sekolah tersebut? Prestasi perkhidmatan internet di sekolah tersebut secara amnya adalah memuaskan. Bagaimanapun, perkhidmatan satelit kadang-kadang boleh terganggu akibat pelbagai faktor yang di luar kawalan seperti cuaca. Hanya SK Nangan Sering yang tidak mendapat liputan internet yang memuaskan. Jadi bagi menjawab soalan tambahan yang kedua, setakat ini pihak sekolah boleh menggunakan internet in a box melalui komputer Raspberry Pi yang disediakan oleh kementerian saya. Jadi untuk jangka panjang, Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia KPM akan berusaha untuk mendapatkan liputan di sekolah tersebut. Terima kasih.
Yang berhormat Saksi Jihau Batu Lintang.
Thank you, Tan Sri Dato' Amal Speaker. My question is number 5.
Terima kasih, Tan Sri Speaker. Terima kasih, Ahli yang berhormat from Batu Lintang. During the last DUN sessions, and this session is no exception, many ahli yang berhormat in this August House have raised similar issues and problems relating to the occurrences of flash floods and occasional severe flooding in their own constituencies, may it be in the urban areas or rural areas affecting long houses and agriculture crops. In this regard, Tan Sri Speaker, I will answer the question raised by Ali yang berhormat from Batu Lintang from two perspectives. Perspective number one, I will answer the question from a micro perspective with specific reference to the areas mentioned in the question. And number two, from a macro perspective as to what are the other significant contributing factors which cause the occurrence of flash floods and or severe flooding in Sarawak as well as the world over. For the information of ahli yang berhormat from Batu Lintang, the rancangan tibatan banjir Sungai Maung Kiri, Kuching, Lembangan Sungai Sarawak was recently approved by the government under the RMK midterm review and is currently at the pre-implementation stage. The project, which has a scheme value of 120.5 million, is expected to be physically implemented by the second quarter of 2025 and is expected to be completed within 24 months. Transit Speaker and honorable members of this August House, while we acknowledge that the inadequate drainage system built many years ago, siltation of our drains and waterways, as well as clogged drains, outlets, and etc., might be one of the causes of the occurrence of flash floods or flooding in the urban areas and rural areas, one must not forget that the global phenomenon called climate change is equally responsible. As everyone knows in this August House, experiences, and can even feel and see with your own naked eyes, climate change is already happening the world over, and Sarawak is not spared. Climate change is here to stay, and it can be seen by many significant telltale signs such as 1. Increase in global average surface temperature by about 0.6 Celsius since 1990, and this is clearly evidenced by the occurrences of extreme temperatures and heat waves as experienced by many countries throughout the world. And a few days ago, if you have seen in the television, one area in Brazil recorded a temperature of 136 degrees Fahrenheit, equivalent to 56 or 58 degrees Celsius. Number 2, rise in sea level by about 1 cm per decade. Number 3, decline in Arctic sea ice thickness by 40% in the past 40 years. Number 4, major glaciers throughout the world are retreating. And number 5, which is very significant, precipitation have increased, particularly as intense rainfall leading to more frequent and severe floods, flooding like what had happened in countries and continents where flooding was unheard of before. Number 6, El Nino events have become more common and more intense. And number 7, in parts of Asia and Africa, droughts have increased in frequency and intensity. All these phenomena have already impacted on our socio-economic well-being, the way we live and the world we are living in. It is for these very reasons that our Premier had intelligently crafted and indeed a very forward-looking and far-reaching policy of anchoring our PCDS 2030 on economic prosperity based on green technology vis-a-vis carbon trading and carbon capture, utilization and storage, CCUS, and digital economy, as well as environmental sustainability in order to assist the world in a very small way to mitigate climate change and create a more sustainable environment for our future generations. The tabling of the Forest Ordinance Amendment Bill 2022 during the last June sitting and the Environment Reduction Greenhouse Gases Emission Bill 2023, which was tabled yesterday, were indeed a very notable move by our Right Honourable Premier and the GPS government. These bills will enable us to complement some of the multilateral environmental agreements, such as Kyoto Protocol in 1997, the Montreal Protocol 1987, the Langkawi Declarations among the Commonwealth countries in 1989, the ASEAN Transboundary Haze Agreement 2022, and the Paris Agreement 2015, among others, to come up with policy directions as well as concrete, implementable mitigation and adaptation measures to address climate change and its impacts on our planet. Mr. Speaker, having said all this, however, the Sarawak government, being people-centric, will continue to undertake direct in situ intervention mitigation measures, such as upgrading of existing and dilapidated drainage system, shallow waterways, and educate the general public on the proper disposal of waste in order to avoid clogged drains and hence help to minimize flash flood or severe flooding, especially in urban areas.
Thank you, Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker. I must thank the Honourable Deputy Minister for very enlightening answer to the question. My two supplementary questions are: number one, the scope of work involved in the dredging of the Sungai Maung, and number two, what are the immediate interim measures that will be undertaken by the Ministry for the mitigation of fast flood during the interim period? Thank you.
Terima kasih, Tan Sri Speaker. As you are all aware, Sungai Maung crosses 3 municipalities. 1, DBKU, number 2, MBKS, and 3, Majlis Perbandaran Pedawan. As an interim measure, I have already answered your question. In fact, I have preempted your supplementary question. The last part of my answer has answered your question. And number 2, the scope of work covered under this project includes survey work, soil investigation, land acquisition, relocation of utilities, if any, construction and upgrading of drainage system at Jalan Laksamana Cheng Ho, dredging works, and other associated works. Thank you very much.
Yang Berhormat Encik Yap Yausin, Kota Sentosa.
Thank you, Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker. My question is number 6.
Question number 6. Any honourable ministers to answer?
Saya terima kasih kena bergurau. Assalamualaikum Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker. Sebelum saya menjawab soalan daripada Yang Berhormat Kota Sentosa, izinkan saya mengambil kesempatan yang berharga ini untuk mewakili masyarakat Dun Smok, jabatan di bawah selian saya serta warga media untuk merakamkan ucapan tahniah kepada Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker di atas pelantikan semula sebagai Speaker Dewan Undangan Negeri Sarawak. Yang Berhormat Kota Sentosa, your questions basically with regards to the tali hikmat. This is a very important services where we are trying our best to ensure that all public concerns and complaints are being channeled to the government or the agencies, and especially the respective YBs. And also, I was made to understand that your Pusat Hikmat is one of the active Pusat Hikmat utilizing this tali hikmat for your services and attending to all various concerns raised by the peoples in your kawasan. The Tali Hikmat was established to cater all public feedback, including complaints, inquiries, suggestions, requests, and sometimes compliments from the public relating to the services provided by both state and federal agencies in Sarawak. You're asking about the basic mechanisms of how these concerns are being attended to and being solved. In a nutshell, Tali Hikmat Call Center will assess some of the concerns being written, being forwarded to Tali Hikmat, and further inquiries have to be made because sometimes further information, detailed information, a clear picture of those concerns or complaints need to be drafted and being channeled to the respective agencies or ministries for their further attentions and actions. All the agencies' concerns are required to provide appropriate response to Tali Hikmat no more than 14 days, working days. Random customer satisfactory or follow-up call by phone or by emails and by WhatsApps, all those devices will be carried out by Tali Hikmat personnel to the respective agencies to ensure that the appropriate actions are being taken. And if some of the complaints or concerns raised are not being satisfactorily attended to or in response are not being satisfied, the case will be reopened and the matter will be routed back to the relevant agencies or ministries. And the Tali Hikmat personnel will continue to monitor the progress of the case until the matter is either being solved or sometimes we update the status of the matters, because not all things can be solved immediately, but they try our best. Some of the agencies are trying the best to solve it within the reasonable period, and may take some time because some of the matters raised relate to various agencies, and then they have to check with a few agencies to ensure that the response will be satisfactory. Then, other than that, UKAS just took over the monitoring of this Tali Hikmat this year, and will continue. UKAS will continue to monitor the situations. Not only complaints or concern raised via phone call to Tali Hikmat, UKAS also responsible looking into matters raised in the media socials and papers, and sometimes, and all these things raised will be channeled to the respective agencies and ministry. The performance so far, there are some time where there is still unsatisfactory situations. So UKAS will reissue on a monthly notifications to the respective agencies to take immediate actions. And then other than that, every now and then there is a mesyuarat pengurusan malum balas awam dalam sistem talimat will be done regularly, and all those agencies who seems to be unable to attending those concerns satisfactorily will be called and to provide solutions to all those concerns raised. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. I have one supplementary question only, and my supplementary question is, what actions are taken against those public agencies responsible who furnish inaccurate or false replies back to Tali Hikmat, i.e. complaints have not been resolved but are reported back as resolved and settled?
Yang Berhormat Kota Sentosa, I wish to believe, and I truly believe that your concern raised is equally a concern of all the YBs, and then we do face similar problems sometimes when dealing with some of the agencies. So, but then again, to ensure that good relationships with all these agencies, sometimes we have to understand their working systems and things like that. But of course, there are come a case, one or two cases where we will face, as you have said, inaccurate or false replies. But if it's inaccurate, probably there are some failure on their part to communicate, miscommunications among the agencies, or even ourselves sometimes not able to supply the accurate information with regards to the complaint. But if it's done deliberately, a false reply, I believe such act and actions is so unethical, irresponsible, and if deemed necessary and appropriate, probably we can lodge our complaint and make sure that the relevant officers to be reprimanded. But of course, this is a general statement. Sometimes we cannot reflect in all the agencies to be acting such. But of course, we do have black sheeps among some. Then of course, we have to take the appropriate actions by lodge the complaint. However, with the introduction of Sarawak Ombudsman Bill is timely. I believe this bill will be able to solve a lot of things to ensure that the developments going on in Sarawak will be monitored and will be what they call akan dilaksanakan dengan efficient and to elevating the standard accountability in the public administrations. Of course, when you ask what kind of actions, there is a provisions in the bill that if the persons intentionally give false information, it is an offence, and definitely there are some action to be taken within the definitions of the bill. Thank you.
Yang Berhormat Encik Anya Jana Ngemah.
Tan Sri Datuk Amar Speaker, soalan saya nombor 7.
Thank you, Tan Sri Datuk Amar Speaker. Thank you, Ahli Yang Berhormat Dayama, for the question. And first and foremost, I would like to congratulate our Tuan Speaker, Tan Sri Datuk Amar, for reappointed as Speaker of this August House. Untuk makluman Ahli Yang Berhormat Dayama, buat masa ini Kementerian saya belum mempunyai perancangan untuk membangunkan kawasan ini sebagai kawasan eko pelancongan. Walau bagaimanapun tidak dinafikan sesuatu kawasan yang kaya dengan sumber khazanah alam semula jadi seperti Bukit Sepali merupakan satu aset yang sangat penting dalam memajukan sektor pelancongan negeri dan yang amat sesuai sekiranya diterujui oleh komuniti setempat lagi meningkatkan taraf sosial ekonomik mereka. Oleh yang demikian, kesediaan komuniti tempatan untuk menerajui usaha membangunkan sektor pelancongan di kawasan mereka penting untuk memastikan usaha tersebut berterusan dan mampan. Sekiranya sesuatu komuniti berniat untuk memajukan sektor pelancongan di kawasan mereka, perkara ini boleh diusulkan kepada kumpulan petugas pelancongan bahagian DTTG yang dipengerusikan oleh residen bahagian Sibu atau Kapit mengikut lokaliti masing-masing. Pihak DTTG boleh menemukan cadangan tersebut kepada kementerian saya. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Yang Berhormat Timbalan Menteri. Tan Sri Datuk Amar Speaker, saya ada dua soalan tambahan. Yang pertama, berapakah jumlah homestay yang telah berdaftar di bahagian Sibu, khususnya di daerah Ke-19? Soalan tambahan yang kedua, selain homestay, apakah konsep pelancongan lain yang boleh diceburi oleh komuniti setempat? Thank you.
Terima kasih Tan Sri Datuk Amar Speaker. Terima kasih Ahli Yang Berhormat Yama untuk makluman Ahli Yang Berhormat Yama. Pada masa ini terdapat 3 kluster homestay yang melibatkan 42 pengusaha berdaftar di bahagian Sibu, termasuk daerah Ke-19. Seperti yang Ahli Yang Berhormat Yama sedia maklum, terdapat 245 rumah panjang dan kampung di bawah kawasan Dun Yama. Oleh yang demikian, kementerian saya mengalahkan agar komuniti kawasan Dun Yama menceburkan diri dalam sektor pelancongan berasaskan komuniti dengan membangunkan homestay di kawasan mereka. Untuk kemakluman, syarat asas pendaftaran program pengalaman homestay boleh diakses di laman sesawan Kementerian Pelancongan, Seni dan Budaya Malaysia, MOTEK. Jawapan soalan kedua, Tan Sri Datuk Amar Speaker, untuk makluman Ahli Yang Berhormat Yama, selain dari homestay, penduduk komuniti juga boleh membangunkan sektor agro-pelancongan, agro-tourism. Agro-pelancongan adalah aktiviti pelancongan yang berkaitan sektor pertanian yang berasaskan tanaman, tanamkan perikanan dan sistem dagang, industri asas tani dan kraft tangan yang sedang berkembang pesat dan berpotensi untuk ditawarkan di Sarawak. Yang juga dapat dipakaikan bersama pelancongan yang akan memberi nilai tambah kepada produk pelancongan dan meningkatkan pemasaran produk pertanian kawasan tersebut. Sekian, terima kasih.
Yang Berhormat Datuk Paulus Ngumbang Batu Danau.
Terima kasih Tan Sri Speaker. Soalan saya nombor 8.
Terima kasih Tan Sri Tok Mas Speaker. Terima kasih Yang Berhormat Batu Danau. Untuk makluman bagi Yang Berhormat Batu Danau, program SARES ataupun Sarawak Alternative Rural Electrification Scheme telah pun dimulakan oleh Kerajaan Sarawak melalui Kementerian Utiliti dan Telekomunikasi dengan agensi pelaksana Sarawak pada tahun 2011. Program SARES ini adalah projek pembekalan elektrik untuk kawasan di luar bandar dan juga kawasan pendalaman yang tidak mendapat akses untuk disambung ke talian grid. Untuk makluman Yang Berhormat bagi Batu Danau, kapasiti untuk pengguna yang telah dibekalkan dengan sistem solar di bawah program SARES ini sebenarnya telah pun ditingkatkan daripada awalnya sebanyak 2 kilowatt jam sehari dan sejak tahun 2019 telah pun ditingkatkan kepada 3 kilowatt jam sehari. Program SARES yang membekalkan bekalan elektrik di kawasan luar bandar adalah usaha Kerajaan Sarawak untuk memastikan bahawa penduduk di kawasan luar bandar dan di pendalaman mendapat bekalan elektrik. Dan untuk makluman bahawa bekalan elektrik ini adalah disediakan secara percuma oleh Kerajaan Sarawak. SARES ini adalah inisiatif yang masih relevan untuk membekalkan bekalan elektrik 24 jam di kawasan yang jauh daripada talian grid, terutamanya kawasan-kawasan yang tidak ada jalan akses. Untuk kawasan yang berdekatan dengan talian grid yang akan dibekalkan dengan jalan raya akses, pihak Sarawak Energy dan Kementerian Utiliti dan Telekomunikasi akan berusaha menyambungkan pendapatan ini ke talian grid secara berperingkat. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Timbalan Menteri. Terima kasih Tan Sri Speaker. I have 2 supplementary questions. Yang pertamanya ialah apakah jenis peralatan elektrik yang boleh digunakan bagi rumah-rumah yang dibekalkan elektrik melalui sistem solar yang berkapasiti 3 kilowatt jam. Dan yang kedua ialah apakah langkah-langkah yang perlu diambil bagi memanjangkan jangka hayat sistem Sarawak Alternative Rural Electrification System ini ataupun SARES. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Tan Sri Tok Speaker. Terima kasih bagi Yang Berhormat Batu Danau. Untuk jawapan soalan yang pertama, apabila kapasiti bekalan elektrik ini ditingkatkan daripada 2 kepada 3 kilowatt jam, setiap isi rumah yang terlibat boleh menyediakan peralatan elektrik seperti berikut, iaitu 1 set televisyen, kipas angin, periuk nasi, peti sejuk bersaiz kecil serta 5 unit lampu LED 11 watt dan 4 soket outlet secara optimum bagi keperluan asas harian. Manakala untuk jawapan bagi soalan yang kedua, kebanyakan daripada sistem SARES ini menggunakan panel solar. Satu ketika pada peringkat awal pelaksanaannya ada juga digunakan micro hydro. Namun demikian yang lebih popular yang telah dilaksanakan oleh pihak Sarawak Energy ialah menggunakan sistem solar di mana panel-panel solar ini diletak di kawasan berdekatan dengan kampung ataupun rumah panjang yang terlibat. Jadi ia memerlukan kerjasama antara komuniti setempat dengan pihak Sarawak Energy untuk memastikan bahawa jangka hayat sistem SARES ini dapat dipertingkatkan, dipanjangkan untuk manfaat masyarakat setempat. Jadi kerjasama ini memerlukan pendekatan yang berpanjangan. Antaranya ialah pihak komuniti setempat diminta untuk membersihkan panel sekolah yang ada secara berkala. Pada masa yang sama juga, jawatankuasa tempatan diminta untuk menjaga kebersihan tapak sares seperti memotong rumput dan juga membuang sampah. Dan juga dalam kawasan jawatankuasa sares itu perlu dijaga kebersihan dan juga sekiranya ada kejadian kerosakan pada pelanggan itu diminta untuk melaporkan kepada pihak Sarawak Energy. Di samping itu juga pihak jawatankuasa di tempat yang berkaitan diminta untuk memastikan bahawa tidak ada berlaku sebarang kejadian vandalisme kepada sambungan serta peralatan sares. Dan akhirnya diminta kerjasama supaya tidak ada sambungan haram ataupun kecurian elektrik melalui pengubahsuaian meter ataupun meter tampering berlaku di tempat tersebut. Dan sekiranya seandainya kesemua perkara ini dapat dilaksanakan secara bersama, kita pasti jangka hayat sistem sares di satu pendapat itu dapat dipanjangkan untuk memberi manfaat kepada masyarakat setempat. Terima kasih.
Encik Yang Berhormat Abdul Yaakob RB Balingian.
Terima kasih Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker. Saya mula dengan dua kerat pantun. Bujang senang dari Sri Aman. Soalan saya nombor 9.
Terima kasih Dato' Ahmad Speaker. Saya sudah dapat jawab pantun ya. Minta maaf. Selalu saya 4 kerat. Terima kasih Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker dan terima kasih Yang Berhormat bagi Balengian. Untuk makluman ahli Yang Berhormat bagi Balengian, kerja-kerja pemantauan kehadiran buaya di sungai-sungai Sarawak sentiasa dijalankan oleh pasukan Sweep Wildlife Action Team SWAT, Sarawak Forestry Corporation SFC, termasuklah di Sungai Balengian. Pada masa yang sama, operasi menangkai, iaitu culling, buaya juga akan dilakukan sekiranya perlu bagi mengawal populasi buaya yang mengancam keselamatan penduduk setempat. Sepanjang tahun ini, 2 aktiviti pemantauan telah dilakukan di kawasan Balengian dan 2 ekor buaya telah ditangkai sehingga kini. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih Yang Berhormat Datuk Timbalan Menteri atas jawapan yang cukup padat dan bermaklumat. Jadi saya ada 2 soalan tambahan. Soalan pertama, apakah status terkini populasi buaya di kawasan Balengian dan sekitarnya? Soalan kedua, apakah inisiatif lain kerajaan dalam menangani konflik manusia dan buaya?
Terima kasih Dato' Ahmad Speaker dan terima kasih Yang Berhormat bagi Balengian. Untuk makluman ahli Yang Berhormat bagi Balengian, survey dan pemantauan populasi buaya yang terbaru dijalankan di Sungai Balengian adalah pada bulan Mei tahun ini. Hasil daripada survey tersebut, anggaran populasi buaya di sepanjang Sungai Balengian adalah 114 ekor, iaitu peningkatan sebanyak 37% berbanding 83 ekor pada tahun 2014. Jadi bukan sahaja rakyat Balengian berproduktif, buaya juga berproduktif. Oleh yang demikian, masyarakat setempat dinasihatkan agar sentiasa berwaspada apabila menjalankan aktiviti di sungai. Dan untuk menjawab soalan kedua, Dato' Ahmad Speaker, bukan saja murid-murid kita mempunyai program 3M, buaya juga mempunyai program 3M, iaitu Program yang dijalankan oleh SFC 3M mengenali, memahami dan memelihara buaya sebagai langkah menenangi konflik manusia buaya. Pada tahun ini sebanyak 22 program 3M buaya telah dijalankan di seluruh Sarawak yang melibatkan komuniti, sekolah dan jabatan dan agensi kerajaan. Untuk makluman, SFC telah mendirikan sebanyak 213 papan tanda amaran buaya di lokasi strategik dan hotspot di seluruh Sarawak. Pada masa yang sama, pengagihan voucher dan poster kepada penduduk setempat yang dijalankan di kawasan berkenaan. Di samping itu, aplikasi pemantauan buaya sedang dibangunkan untuk membantu orang ramai dalam mendapatkan maklumat lokasi hotspot buaya. Bagi memperkasakan pengurusan buaya secara bersepadu, di Sarawak, SFC bercadang untuk bekerjasama dengan perunding dalam dan luar negara seperti dari International Union of Conservation of Nature, Species Survival Commission, IUCN SSC, dan Crocodile Specialist Group, CSG, dan pakar-pakar di Australia dan Afrika Selatan. Terima kasih.
Yang Berhormat Encik Syafiq Ahmad Daro.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker. Buaya di Balangian mati dibunuh. Soalan saya nombor 10.
Thank you, Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker. Heartiest congratulations, but I will not ask for EOT to answer this question. For the information of Yang Berhormat Daro, in addition to the various assistance provided by the federal government, Sarawak GPS government has also implemented Bantuan Khas Sarawak Kusayang BKSS 1.0 to 9.0, including financial and non-financial assistance for the rakyat, including SME, totaling RM 6.7 billion, which benefited more than 97,000 business communities. Among the assistance are 1. Interest-free loan, soft loan for SME. 2. One-off financial assistance of RM 10,000 per company for active small and medium enterprises, and RM 3,000 per company for active micro enterprises in Sarawak, registered with SOCSO, SOCSO. Number 3, special grants of RM 3,250 per recipient to hawkers and petty traders registered with local authorities. Number 4, one-off financial assistance of RM 500 per recipient to e-hailing drivers, driving instructors, penambang perahu, I guess, licensed van operators, taxi drivers, school bus and van operators, licensed tourist vehicle drivers. And number 5, one-off financial assistance of RM 1,500 per participant to licensed tourists and park guides. Number 6, one-off financial assistance of RM 3,000 per participant to registered tourist agency. Number 7, one-off financial assistance of RM 600 per recipient to registered homestay operators. Number 7, electricity and water bill discount. Number 9, I think, waiver of rental to to SME operating on premises owned by the state GLC. And 10, waiver of permit and license fee under the local authorities. Suruhanjaya Syarikat Malaysia SSM reported 459 companies in Sarawak have wound up either through court and voluntary winding up petition for the period between 2020 to 2023.
Terima kasih Yang Berhormat Timbalan Menteri atas jawapan yang diberi. Tan Sri Tuan Speaker, saya ada dua soalan tambahan. Soalan pertama, apakah usaha kerajaan Sarawak untuk meningkatkan kapasiti komuniti perniagaan pasca COVID-19? Dan soalan yang kedua, bagi kawasan Daru, berapa orang usahawan yang telah mendapat manfaat daripada bantuan-bantuan keusahawanan yang ditawarkan oleh kerajaan? Terima kasih.
Thank you for honourable members for Daro. Tan Sri Speaker, untuk soalan pertama, bagi meningkatkan kapasiti komuniti perniagaan pasca COVID-19, Kementerian saya telah ditugaskan untuk mengetuai pelaksanaan Business Endowment and Recovery Fund, BIS Fund. BIS Fund ini merupakan bantuan dalam bentuk kewangan untuk membantu persatuan perniagaan di Sarawak bagi melaksanakan program pembangunan kapasiti dan penambahbaikan perniagaan untuk ahli-ahlinya. Sehingga kini, seramai 10,905 ahli perniagaan telah menerima manfaat dengan peruntukan berjumlah RM 17.6 juta. Untuk soalan yang kedua, dari tahun 2022 sehingga kini, sebanyak 130 usahawan di Daro dengan nilai bantuan berjumlah RM5.02 juta telah mendapat manfaat melalui program-program seperti berikut. Ke-1, Skim Kredit Mikro Sarawak SKMS, 95 penerima dengan nilai keseluruhan RM2.97 juta. Yang kedua, Skim Pembiayaan Perniagaan Kontrak Ekspres dan Skim Pembiayaan Perniagaan Usahawan Teknikal oleh MARA, di mana 11 penerima dengan nilai keseluruhan RM1.72 juta. Yang ketiga, Skim Pembiayaan Tekun Nasional, di mana 5 penerima dengan nilai keseluruhan RM200,000. Dan keempat, program Go Digital, di mana 7 penerima dengan nilai keseluruhan RM70,000. Dan kelima, Gerakan Pelancaran Bantuan Pengusaha Perniagaan Kecil oleh Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat Sarawak, di mana 7 penerima dengan nilai keseluruhan RM35,000. Dan yang keenam, program Keduan ke Arah Usahawan Gerak dan program Usahawan Technical Vocational USTEP, di mana 5 penerima dengan jumlah RM25,000. Thank you.
Ahli Yang Berhormat, question time is up.
Rang Undang-Undang Kerajaan, bacaan kali yang kedua. Distribution of Gas Amendment Bill 2023. Minister for Utility and Telecommunication.
Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker, sir, I beg to move the bill entitled Distribution of Gas Amendment Bill 2023 be read for a second reading in this August House. Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker, sir, availability and sufficiency of gas at a reasonable price is important enabler to spur
the industrial development growth in Sarawak in order to achieve a high-income economy as per our Sarawak Post-COVID Development Strategy 2030, in short, PCDS 2030. As such, a Sarawak gas roadmap has been developed. Under this roadmap, 1,200 million scarf of natural gas is required for use by industrial and power sectors within Sarawak by the year 2030. Natural gas required for Sarawak has to be sourced from the areas offshore of Sarawak and produced by Petronas and its production sharing contractors, PSC. Under the current Petronas PSC terms, all gas in Sarawak have to be sold by PSCs such as Shell to Petronas, who purpose to act as an aggregator of the gas. It is Petronas who determines how much gas produced within the boundaries of Sarawak, allocated for industries or power generation in Sarawak, and the price for such gas. Presently, nearly all gas produced offshore Sarawak are converted into liquefied natural gas LNG for export by Petronas overseas. Almost all of gas produced in Sarawak is allocated by Petronas to supply gas to feed the LNG plants in Bintulu. Consequently, the volume of gas available for local industry and power sectors is a very low percentage of gas produced in Sarawak. Based on the above inequitable arrangement, there is insufficient volume of gas for industrial use in Sarawak. With the uncertainty over availability of gas and the price thereof, it has become very challenging to attract foreign investors who require gas for their industrial processes to establish or locate their plants in Sarawak. This has hampered our efforts to accelerate industrial growth to enable Sarawak to have a high-income economy by the year 2030. To overcome the challenges, Transit Speaker, sir, we have outlined, to overcome the challenges outlined above, Transit Speaker, sir, the Sarawak government has decided that it would appoint its own gas aggregator to procure adequate gas for distribution and for supply for use in Sarawak at reasonable and affordable prices, and to build, expand, manage, and maintain gas distribution network and infrastructure statewide to supply gas to industries and other consumers who require gas. Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker, sir, the bill provides for the appointment of a gas aggregator to ensure the availability of gas for industries and consumers, and to strengthen, improve, and expand the existing gas distribution network and system. The amendment empowers Majlis Mesyuarat Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak to appoint a gas aggregator. It is envisaged that Petroleum Sarawak Berhad, in short Petros, a company wholly owned by Sarawak government, having the requisite experience and knowledge in gas distribution, would be appointed as a gas aggregator when the bill is passed and come into force. Currently, Petros is already a licensed distributor of liquefied petroleum gas LPG in Sarawak and will be appointed as the sole distributor for LPG effective 1st December 2023. My ministry will ensure that all persons undertaking activities listed under Section 7 of the Distribution of Gas Ordinance 2016 must obtain licenses from the Director of Gas Distribution. all persons issued with licenses under Section 7 of the Ordinance for the Distribution, Supply and Sale of Gas in Sarawak shall sell and deliver their gas to Petros, and to enable Petros to procure sufficient gas for distribution and supply to consumers in Sarawak, including LNG plants, at a reasonable price. For the information of this August House, the appointment of the gas aggregator would not in any way prejudice or adversely affect the existing arrangements entered into by upstream gas producers. They are rest assured that Sarawak government will continue to support their upstream operation, which are critical for sustainability of gas supply in Sarawak. At the same time, Transit Speaker Sir, the Sarawak government will work with Petros and Petronas to accelerate the exploration and development of new gas fields offshore Sarawak. This is to increase the production of natural gas and to apply carbon capture and storage strategies to remove high carbon dioxide contents in large volume of gas found in offshore Sarawak. This additional gas can be used to sustain industries in Sarawak, including LNG plants in Bintulu. Translated Dato' Ahmad Speaker, Sir, the principal functions of gas aggregator are as follows. A, to manage the procurement of natural gas from all sources for distribution and supply to any person, plant, facility and premises in Sarawak. B, to develop, expand, manage and maintain gas distribution network and systems, including but not limited to pipelines, terminals for receiving gas, processing plants and storage facilities. And C, to carry out such functions related to the distribution of gas in Sarawak as Majlis Mesyuarat Kedua Negeri may direct in writing. Translated Dato' Ahmad Speaker, Sir, the gas aggregator in the discharge of its statutory functions would comply with the direction of the gas of, I repeat, the gas aggregator in the discharge of its statutory function would comply with the directions of the director or the minister so that the strategies and measures identified in the Sarawak gas roadmap are fulfilled or undertaken by the gas aggregator, and that approved industries are given due and proper consideration on their requests for gas allocations. Dato' Ahmad Speaker, Sir, the amendment also provides for addition to rule-making provision which empowers the Minister with the approval of Majlis Mesyuarat Kedua Negeri to make a regulation for any matter as may be necessary or expedient to give full effect to this ordinance. Translated Dato' Ahmad Speaker, Sir, to enhance the enforcement provided under the ordinance, this bill also introduced provisions to remand those who are arrested under the ordinance and seizure of property when offender cannot be found, as well as handling of seized items. This bill also introduced a new provision to remand those arrested if investigation cannot be completed within 24 hours. Where the offender is unknown or cannot be found, a new provision for seizure of property and procedures in handling seized items is added and provided for in Clause 6 of the bill. If there is no prosecution with regard to anything or property seized under this ordinance, such thing or property may be taken and deemed to be profited at the expiry of 1 calendar month from the date of seizure, unless before the date the owner claims such thing or property. Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker, sir, with this new bill in place through the appointment of gas aggregator, the distribution of gas in Sarawak can be fully developed, expanded to ensure adequate supply of gas to meet the needs of domestic consumers, industries, and potential investors in Sarawak. This will definitely accelerate sustainable economic development across Sarawak. For all the above reasons, as I have mentioned just now, Mr. Speaker, sir, I hereby urge all honourable members of this august House to fully support this amendment bill. I therefore beg to move. Thank you.
And then the Minister to second.
I beg to second.
Thank you. Al-Aliyah Muhammad. I shall now call upon honourable members who wish to speak on the bill. Under Standing Order 31, bracket 8, I limit speeches to 20 minutes. Any honourable members wish to speak? Member for Daro.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera dan salam sahabatku sayang. Terima kasih Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker. First and foremost, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation for gracious affording me the privilege to engage in today's discourse concerning the distribution of gas amendment bill 2023. This proposed legislation seeks to amend the distribution of gas ordinance 2016 chapter 72 that was tabled by Honourable Minister for Utility and Communication, also the Adun for N27 Sebuyau. Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker, the primary objective underlying this amendment encompasses one, to have a gas aggregator to manage the procurement of natural gas from all sources for distribution and supply for any person, plants, facilities, and premises in Sarawak. Number two, for the gas aggregator to develop, expand, manage, and maintain gas distribution networks and systems, including but not limited to pipelines, terminals for receiving gas, processing plants, and storage facilities. Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker, to ensure the efficacy of proposed amendment of this bill and to secure its success, it is imperative to establish an officially appointed entity tasked with overseeing the comprehensive regulations of the supply and demand dynamics pertaining to gas in Sarawak. The gas aggregator is an appointed entity which enables Sarawak government to procure adequate gas for distribution and supply for use in Sarawak at a reasonable and affordable price, and to build, expand, manage, and maintain gas distribution network and infrastructure Sarawak-wide to supply gas to industries and other consumers who require gas. Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker, introducing a gas aggregator in Sarawak stands as a strategic move, fostering economic growth and generating new revenue streams. This innovative approach will streamline gas supply mechanism, optimize market dynamics, and contribute significantly to the economic prosperity of our regions. The benefits of gas aggregator are: one, gas aggregator can effectively and efficiently manage and determine gas productions, allocation for the industries of power generations, and the gas price in Sarawak. Currently, Petronas purports as the gas aggregator in Sarawak. Number 2, to spur Sarawak economic prosperity by leveraging on the natural gas resources. Number 3, gas aggregator can negotiate bulk purchasing agreement with suppliers, allowing them to obtain gas at a lower cost per unit. This cost efficiency can pass on the customers, making the aggregator services more attractive and transparent in terms of pricing. Supply chains optimization. Gas aggregator can optimize the supply chain by efficiently sourcing gas from various suppliers and distributing it to the end user. This can result in more reliable and resilient supply chains, reducing the risk of disruptions and increase Sarawakian and Sarawak companies' participations in natural gas value chains. The gas aggregator may have access to a wide network of suppliers and customers, providing them with a broader market reach. This can advantageous in terms of expanding the customer base and securing a diverse range of supply sources. We can bring in more investors and industry players with more reasonable and affordable prices of the natural gas and able to promote new gas discoveries, exploration, production to prioritize gas supply in the best interest of Sarawak. Petroleum Sarawak Berhad Petros as gas aggregator in Sarawak. Upon the passage and enforcement of this bill, it is prudent to appoint Petroleum Sarawak Berhad or Petros as a gas aggregator. As the wholly owned entity of the Sarawak government, Petros possesses unparalleled experience and expertise in gas distribution. Entrusting them with the role of gas aggregator ensures a seamless transition, leveraging their knowledge to optimize gas supply chains. This strategic move not only uphold our commitment to effective governance, but also bolsters Sarawak's standing in the energy sector. Let us unite in support of this pragmatic decision for the benefit of our constituents, specifically, and our beloved state in general. Mr. Speaker, the passage of this bill marks a crucial step towards Sarawak's economic empowerment. By sufficing 20% in domestic gas utilization, we align with PCDS 2030 goals, fostering energy self-reliance. Furthermore, this legislation propels Sarawak's socio-economic development, generating skills, jobs, and spending opportunities for our people. Collaborating with academic institutions to craft tailor-made syllabi, ensure that Sarawakians are equipped for the workforce, fulfilling the aspiration of PCDS 2030 to elevate households' income. Importantly, this bill safeguards upstream activities, ensuring continuity without adverse effects on existing arrangement under production sharing contractors. And our commitment to sustainability is unwavering, and we will collaborate with all stakeholders, including Petronas, to secure the enduring supplies of gas for Sarawak. With that being said, let us unite in endorsing this transformative legislation for the prosperity of well-being of our beloved state. On that note, Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to strongly support this futuristic bill, Distribution of Gas Amendment Bill 2023. Thank you.
Member for Pending.
Thank you, Tuan Speaker, for allowing me to participate in the debate of the Distribution of Gas Amendment Ordinance 2023. Tuan Speaker, in this bill, Clause 5 seeks to add in a subsection 5 and 6 to the original Clause 23 in the Principal Ordinance concerning power of arrest, search, seizure, and investigation. In the original Clause 23(1), it provides a person authorized in writing by the Director in this section referred to as an authorized officer, shall have the power to conduct an investigation where there is reason to believe that an offence or contravention of any provision of regulation met hereunder have been committed. And as stated in subsection 2, and I quote, the authorized officer shall have all the powers of a police officer of whatever rank as provided under the Criminal Procedure Code, Act 593, in relation to arrest, search and seizure, and police investigation into criminal offences, but such power shall, in addition to the power provided under this ordinance and not in derogation thereof. So it is clear that under the principal ordinance, the power of arrest, search and investigation lies with the authorized officer appointed thereunder. Tuan Speaker, as we are aware, the return of these gas in distribution rights from the federal government came into effect on 1st July 2018, following the passing of the Gas Distribution Ordinance 2016 in this tune on 21st November 2016. So the current amendment bill, clauses 5 and 6 are adding on the power of the authorized officer. Until today, I believe many of us in this August House are still clueless as to who is the authorized officer. Where are the authorized officers? May I ask whether this authorized officer has been duly appointed and under which authority or ministry? Let's say, should a person see an illegal activity concerning LPG, liquefied petroleum gas related crimes, who should the person report to? May I request for the detail to be made known in this August House so that the public can reach out to the rightful authority. Mr. Speaker, having Sarawak gaining back the LPG or the gas distribution rights from the federal is all well and good for us. But may we be reminded that when the state gains new rights, it comes with added responsibility, including enforcing the law. The LPG enforcement or power delegation is under the Sarawak state government purview. In other words, Sarawak must have its own enforcement unit to regulate the respective laws. To the best of my knowledge, there is no enforcement action taken by the state for any offences committed under the law, as there is no enforcing unit being formed until now. It is shocking to note that Sarawak is taking a lackadaisical attitude in setting up the required enforcement unit under the principal ordinance, despite Sarawak gaining full control and management of all activities associated with the distribution of gas a few years ago. We cannot have a situation whereby we keep tightening the laws, but there is no enforcement of the laws. Mr. Speaker, I would like to enlighten this August House that before the return of the distribution of gas rights to Sarawak, the regulating bodies is Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumerism. But now it is no longer their responsibility, but Sarawak government. As far as I know, should there be any gas distribution-related crimes occurring, and if one were to report to KPDN, it will be fatal. Since there wasn't any enforcement unit being set up yet, problems relating to gas cylinders have surfaced as late last month. There was a report that the army personnel detected and arrested 2 men and seized 2 lorries trying to smuggle 200 gas cylinders into Indonesia. The 2 lorries were caught in the oil plantation in Empaling Stars, Serikin. We, however, do not know the endgame to this arrest. Was this case referred to the State Enforcement Unit for further action to be taken? We are totally in the dark. So please enlighten us on the matter. This is only a tip of the iceberg. How much more have we lost due to illegal activities at the border? It is disappointing that Sarawak government keeps harping, or Sarawak GPS government keeps harping on getting back autonomy, but when certain rights are returned, the Sarawak government is at a loss to deal with the responsibility that comes with it. Gas cylinders are a subsidized item, and if there is no proper enforcement of laws leading to rampant crimes, the nation stands to lose. How much more money can we afford to let it slip through when Sarawak government fails to enforce the law? In conclusion, I therefore call on honourable ministers to inform this August House the status and the cost that is hampering Sarawak government from establishing the required enforcement unit to carry out the necessary tasks. Thank you.
Member for Krian.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat Tan Sri Dato' Amar Speaker. And thank you again for giving me the opportunity to take part in the debate on the distribution of gas amendment ordinance 2023 in this August House. I would also like to congratulate the Yang Berhormat Minister for Utility and Telecommunications Sarawak, who is the member for Sebayau, to have successfully tabled the bill. The tabling of this amendment bill is yet another manifestation by the Sarawak government to transform its economy by providing a more conducive environment and better legal framework for the traders and other industry players to do their business. Tan Sri Speaker, the distribution of gas ordinance 2016 came into force on 1st July 2018 after it was passed by the State Legislative Assembly on 21st November 2016, exactly 7 years today. Among others, the distribution of gas ordinance 2016 stipulated that all activities associated with the distribution of oil and gas, upstream and downstream, will need to be licensed by the Sarawak government. These activities include the export of liquefied natural gas, regasification, treatment and separation and processing of gas, transport, supply and facilities. With the ordinance in force, it makes a new chapter for Sarawak, where it has full control on the distribution of gas in the state, whereby even Petronas as a producer and supplier need to hold a license to continue to operate in the state. The ordinance not only paved the way for Sarawak to safeguard its economic interests by having control over the important natural resources like gas, which is essential to accelerate the industrial development of the state, but also an important source of revenue for the state. Tan Sri Speaker, the distribution of gas amendment ordinance 2023, which is laid before the August House today, seeks to amend Section 7 of the principal ordinance by inserting a new Section 7A that is on the appointment of a gas aggregator. A gas aggregator means a person appointed to procure natural gas for distribution or supply to any person, plant, entity, or premises, and to develop, expand, and maintain gas distribution network and system. In other words, it is a systematic step taken by the government to regulate the distribution of gas within the framework of the law. Again, the proposed Sorry. Again, the proposed amendment provide the allows for the far-sightedness of our YB Premier to make sure that Sarawak and its people could enjoy the benefit derived from the gas business as it is our very own product. By having the gas aggregator, the gas distribution supply system could now be developed and maintained in a more efficient, coordinated and economic manner. On the other hand, the government, through the director appointed under the ordinance, has a clear and better position to monitor and control the gas business, as now we have only the one distributor. The gas aggregator must comply with the provision of the ordinance and the regulation. He is also to ensure that there is no discrimination in the distribution and supply of gas, and to make sure that the distribution and supply process is done efficiently and safely. The aggregator must also ensure that the supply of gas is adequate to meet the demand for gas for industry, commercial and domestic use. The amended ordinance will give the gas aggregator the power, the right, the obligations in discharging his duties and function. Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker, while the newly amended law may adequately cater for the needs of industries, we should not overlook the needs of our rural people. Sarawak is a vast state with its population scattered all over the division and district. In some districts, the mode of communication is by river, land and air. As a result, there are variations in the price of essential like food, gas and petroleum products like fuel. While in some areas, the price of gas per tank could be more than 100 ringgit compared to only around 30 ringgit in the areas, especially around the city and big town. Before this amended ordinance, there are many distributors operating in the rural areas, selling gas from one area, from one kampong to another, as long as they can reach the destination by land or river. The people or the consumers still buy at whatever price, since to them gas is very much an essential item in their daily life. Now with the gas aggregator appointed under the new amended law, what will happen to the current distributor? Secondly, are they still allowed to operate or distribute gas to the remotest areas like before? Or are they required to reapply and re-register themselves with the gas aggregator in order for them to be issued with proper license? Those are the issues that should be considered under the proposed amendment to the distribution of gas ordinance. Another pertinent issue that should be looked into is the supply chain itself. It is hoped that the supply will be consistent and can be readily made available. Under the existing practices, one can easily get the supply from any petrol station, any shop appointed by the supplier, at any village shop, or from the mobile distributor who are ever ready to deliver just by a phone call. It is hoped that under the new system, the delivery and distribution line is more efficient, adequate and economical. Along the supply and distribution line, we can have a few agents as before, as to give some business and job opportunities for some of our local people. But again, this must be closely monitored and controlled to avoid abuse and malpractices among the agent or appointed operators or distributors. However, having said that, Tan Sri Dato' Mas Speaker, I take cognizance that all those worries, including those of my learned friend from Pending just now, I believe all those issues had been taken into account by virtue of the provision in the amendment to Section 23 of the Ordinance, which specifically deal with offenders. To me, the penalty is quite deterring and should be a deterrent for offenders to do cheating or whatever. So in conclusion, Tan Sri Speaker, with all the comments and observations that I have made, I beg to support the distribution of gas amendment ordinance 2023. Once again, congratulations to Yang Berhormat Menteri for tabling the bill. It is a very timely and impactful one, I suppose. Thank you.
Member for Lingga.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera dan salam Sarawak maju makmur. Terlebih dahulu saya ingin mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada Tan Sri Dato' Amat Speaker kerana memberi peluang kepada saya untuk mengambil bahagian dalam perbahasan atas bacaan kali yang kedua bagi rang Undang-Undang Distribution of Gas Amendment Bill 2023 yang dibentangkan oleh Yang Berhormat Menteri Utiliti dan Telekomunikasi dan merangkap ahli Dewan Undangan Negeri N27 Sebuyau. Tan Sri Dato' Amat Speaker, Sarawak adalah salah satu negeri di dalam Malaysia yang kaya dengan sumber asli, khususnya gas asli dan petroleum. Menurut kenyataan maklumat dari Bintulu Development Authority (BDA), Sarawak dikenal pasti mempunyai simpanan gas yang dianggarkan sebanyak 50 trilion piawaian kaki padu dan 85% daripada simpanan ini yang kira-kira 42.3 trilion piawaian kaki padu terletak di luar pantai Bintulu, manakala bakinya adalah terletak di luar pantai Miri. Walau bagaimanapun, menurut kenyataan Premier Sarawak di media New Straits Times published on 7 February 2022, 70% of the liquefied natural gas (LNG) supply in Malaysia comes from Sarawak, and yet the state only consumes less than 5% of the country's total production. Premier of Sarawak also stated that there was a pressing need to intensify localization of gas supply and utilization to further industrialize Sarawak in the next 5-10 years to increase high-value downstream economic activities in the state. Maka itulah bermula Januari 2020 yang lepas, Petroleum Sarawak Berhad Petros kini telah mengawal sepenuhnya perniagaan gas domestik di Sarawak. Ia susulan termeterainya Memorandum Persefahaman MOU bersama Petroleum Nasional Berhad Petronas berkaitan pengurusan gas domestik di negeri ini. Menerusi MOU ini, Petros akan jadi entiti tunggal yang membekal, menjual dan menghantar gas domestik ke kediaman, premis perniagaan dan industri di Sarawak, dan ini sekaligus merealisasikan objektif Distribution of Gas Ordinance 2016. Maka dengan itu, in this August House, objektif Distribution of Gas Amendment Bill 2023 adalah untuk meminda Distribution of Gas Ordinance 2016 (bracket Ordinance) untuk menyediakan pelantikan agregator gas bagi mengembangkan dan memudahkan pengagihan gas di Sarawak dan untuk membolehkan penyediaan gas kepada industri dan pengguna yang memerlukan gas untuk perniagaan mereka, dan sekaligus dapat mengukuhkan, meningkatkan dan mengembangkan rangkaian sedia ada dari sistem. Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker merujuk kepada pindaan pada Seksyen 2 Ordinan Pengagihan Gas 2016 yang menerangkan maksud gas aggregator adalah seseorang yang dilantik bawah Seksyen 7A untuk mendapatkan gas asli untuk pengagihan atau bekalan kepada mana-mana orang, loji, entiti atau premis dan untuk membangunkan, mengembangkan dan mengekalkan rangkaian dan sistem peredaran gas di Sarawak. Pindaan pada Seksyen 2 tersebut adalah berhubung kait dengan pindaan yang dibuat pada Ordinan Bahagian 3, Part 3, License for Distribution of Gas di Seksyen 7, di mana sebelum pindaan ianya ditulis as no person shall distribute gas in Sarawak or carry out the following activities without a license issued under this ordinance. So after amending in this Section 7, the order will be written as no person except, I repeat, no person except a gas aggregator appointed under Section 7A, bracket 1, shall distribute gas in Sarawak or carry out the following activities without a license issue under this ordinance. This explained Section 7 been amended is to give the authority to gas aggregator who been appointed by Majlis Mesyuarat Kerajaan Negeri (MKN) under Section 7A to distribute gas or carry out following activities. Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker, with the amendments that have been made, the new ordinance on Section 7A can be fulfilled, where it explained the appointment of gas aggregator, including its responsibilities and rules, shall be complied by the gas aggregator. Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker, gas aggregator memainkan peranan yang sangat penting bagi merealisasikan objektif kerajaan GPS, khususnya untuk meluaskan bekalan natural gas di peringkat domestik, kerana sebelum adanya Petros, sebagai contoh, pasaran bekalan bagi LPG gas seberat 12 kg dan 14 kg dipelopori oleh Petronas dan Shell di seluruh negeri Sarawak. Seiring dengan perancangan Petros di bawah program Petros Sarawak Gas Roadmap SGR 2030 will act as a game changer to channel pipeline gas or liquefied natural gas LNG to Kuching, the capital city of Sarawak. According to Petros chairman, Petros developed and orchestrated the 10-year roadmap to lead Sarawak transition through gas and new energy, enhance the state's proposition through sustainable development. Maka itu, dengan berpaksikan aspirasi rakyat, kami mengharapkan pihak Kerajaan Sarawak dapat memperluaskan bekalan LPG gas, terutamanya di kawasan pesisir dan pedalamannya lebih strategik, supaya cas tambahan dari pembekal bagi penghantaran bekalan LPG gas tidak terlalu tinggi, which can double up the original price of LPG gas to be consumed by our communities. Saya bagi contoh, dengan siapnya kelak jambatan Batang Lupa 1 yang menghubungkan Sebuyau Triso, alangkah baiknya Kerajaan Sarawak dapat membina satu petrol station yang bukan hanya membekalkan minyak petrol, tapi sekaligus menyediakan bekalan LPG gas di kawasan daerah kecil Merudam. This proposal not only to benefit communities in daerah kecil Merudam, but also to all the community from Triso, Merudam, Semarang, Beladin and Sepinang, which roughly estimate more than 20,000 population. Walaupun ini hanyalah contoh, namun sekiranya Kerajaan Sarawak dapat mempertimbangkan cadangan ini, maka ini adalah salah satu aspirasi rakyat di kawasan tersebut dapat ditunaikan. Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker, merujuk kepada pindaan Distribution of Gas Ordinance under Section 23 and new Section 23A, which fall under Part 5 offences and penalties, power to arrest, search, seizure and investigation. I'm agreeing to these amendments which impose legal action towards the person who are failed to comply with this ordinance. Ini adalah kerana kita sering mendengar beberapa kes di mana pembekal gas tidak berlesen membuat penyimpanan dan penyeludupan LPG gas bersubsidi secara domestik dan juga ke negara jiran. Tindakan mereka ini juga boleh membahayakan mereka sendiri bahkan kepada pengguna kerana dikhawatiri bekalan LPG gas tidak selamat digunakan. Berikutan dengan laporan kes penyeludupan daripada Suara Sarawak pada bulan Oktober yang lepas, 2 lelaki tempatan dicekup ketika cuba menyeludup sebanyak 200 buah tong gas melalui jalan Gajah berhampiran ladang Empaling Bau dan nilai keseluruhan rampasan dianggarkan berjumlah RM141,700. Jumlah itu begitu banyak. Sekiranya bekalan itu memang pergi ke kawasan domestik itu sendiri, ia akan memberi keuntungan bukan hanya kepada pembekal tetapi kepada masyarakat di negeri Sarawak sendiri. Tan Sri Dato' Ahmad Speaker, after I observe all the details on this bill, the Sarawak government is very committed to developing the gas industry to a higher level along with the implementation plan for PCDS 2030. Therefore, I hereby fully support the distribution of Gas Amendment Bill 2023. Thank you.
Member for Talian.
Terima kasih Datuk Tan Sri Dato' Amal Speaker kerana memberi peluang kepada saya untuk terlibat di dalam pembahasan usul pada pindaan ordinan pada hari ini. Selamat suap kat kalau semua. Salam Sarawakku sayang, salam Sarawak maju makmur. Terlebih dahulu saya ingin merakamkan ucapan tahniah kepada sebuyau merangkap Menteri Utiliti dan Telekomunikasi iaitu Menteri Bertanggungjawab yang membawa usul untuk meminda the distribution of gas ordinance 2016 sebagai penambahbaikan ordinan sedia ada. Tan Sri Dato' Amal Speaker, semasa kita mengharungi cabaran dan peluang dunia yang berubah dengan pantas, adalah penting untuk memahami bagaimana kita dapat memanfaatkan potensi pengagihan gas untuk memenuhi keperluan tenaga kita secara mampan dan cekap. The challenge we face in gas distribution is to ensure reliable gas supply, while at the same time reducing adverse effects on the environment at various stages of processing, distribution and use of it. Ketika kita berusaha untuk beralih ke masa depan yang lebih bersih dan hijau adalah penting untuk kita mencari penyelesaian inovatif untuk cabaran-cabaran ini. Salah satu halangan utama dalam pengagihan gas ialah kekurangan infrastruktur yang padu yang menghubungkan pengeluar gas, pengedar dan pengguna dengan lancar. Pengagihan gas memainkan peranan penting dalam merapatkan jurang ini dengan menyatukan gas dari pelbagai sumber dan mengedarkannya dengan cekap kepada pengguna akhir. Mereka bertindak sebagai perantara, memudahkan proses pengedaran gas yang kompleks dan memastikan bekalan yang sentiasa mencukupi untuk penggunaan domestik terutamanya. Tan Sri Dato' Amal Speaker, peranan gas aggregator. Gas aggregator bertindak sebagai facilitator, menyatukan pengeluar gas dan pengguna melalui platform berpusat. Mereka memanfaatkan teknologi untuk menyelaraskan proses pengedaran, mengoptimumkan logistik dan meningkatkan kecekapan keseluruhan. Dengan mengagregat gas dari pelbagai sumber, mereka mewujudkan skala ekonomi yang membawa kepada kos yang lebih rendah dan mengurangkan kesan alam sekitar. Salah satu kelebihan utama agregator gas ialah keupayaan mereka untuk memberikan fleksibiliti kepada pengguna. Melalui platform mereka, pengguna boleh mengakses pelbagai sumber gas, membolehkan mereka memilih pilihan yang paling sesuai berdasarkan harga, kualiti dan pertimbangan alam sekitar. Ini bukan sahaja menggalakkan persaingan tetapi juga menggalakkan pengeluar untuk mengamalkan amalan yang lebih bersih dan mampan. Tan Sri Dato' Amar Speaker, masa depan pengagihan gas memegang peluang yang besar bagi semua pihak berkepentingan yang terlibat. Apabila kita melihat ke arah campuran tenaga yang lebih mampan, gas akan lebih memainkan peranan penting dalam peralihan. Pelepasan karbon yang lebih rendah berbanding bahan api fosil lain menjadikannya alternatif yang boleh dipercayai dan bersih. Gas agregator boleh memainkan peranan penting dalam membuka peluang ini. Dengan memanfaatkan teknologi digital, mereka boleh membolehkan rangkaian pengedaran gas yang lebih pintar dan cekap. Sebagai contoh, mereka boleh menggunakan analisis data untuk mengoptimumkan laluan, mengurangkan kos pengangkutan dan meminimumkan pelepasan gas rumah hijau. Di samping itu, mereka boleh mengintegrasikan sumber gas, boleh diperbaharui ke dalam platform mereka, mempelbagaikan lagi campuran tenaga dan mempromosikan kemampanan. Tan Sri Dato' Amar Speaker, menuju ke arah wawasan wilayah termaju pada tahun 2030, kita sentiasa menerima inovasi baharu. Industri gas berkembang pesat dan penting untuk menerima teknologi baru dan platform digital untuk terus berada di hadapan. Kerjasama untuk berjaya haruslah sentiasa menjadi keutamaan. Gas agregator, pengeluar, pengedar dan pengguna mesti bekerjasama untuk membina rangkaian pengedaran gas yang mantap dan saling berkaitan. Apabila kita beralih kepada masa depan yang lebih bersih, kemampanan harus berada di barisan hadapan dalam semua proses membuat keputusan. Gas agregator boleh memimpin jalan dan mengintegrasikan sumber gas, boleh diperbaharui dan mempromosikan amalan mesra alam. Pendidikan terhadap faedah pengedaran gas dan peranan gas agregator sangatlah penting. Dengan menyebarkan kesedaran, kita boleh memacu perubahan positif dan memudahkan penggunaan amalan tenaga yang lebih mampan. Maka dengan itu, cabaran dan peluang pengagihan gas adalah luas, tetapi dengan pendekatan dan kerjasama yang betul, kita dapat membina sistem yang mampan dan cekap untuk masa depan, serta harus sentiasa memberikan situasi menang-menang kepada semua pihak yang terlibat. Tan Sri Dato' Amar Speaker, pelaksanaan sistem pelesenan untuk pengagihan gas sememangnya kaedah yang memberikan banyak kelebihan kepada pemegang taruh yang terlibat sama ada di pihak kerajaan negeri, persekutuan maupun syarikat-syarikat berkaitan dengannya. Pelaksanaan protokol pelesenan menjamin bahawa firma pengedaran gas mengekalkan pematuhan ketat terhadap standard, peraturan dan cadangan keselamatan. Pelaksanaan langkah-langkah keselamatan membantu dalam pencegahan kemalangan, kebocoran gas dan pelbagai bahaya lain sehingga menjamin pemeliharaan keselamatan awam. Firma pengedaran gas berlesen wajib mematuhi kriteria kualiti tertentu. Amalan ini menjamin penyediaan gas yang memenuhi piawaian kualiti yang ketat. Jadi meminimumkan potensi pencemaran dan menyediakan bekalan tenaga yang boleh dipercayai dan cekap. Pelaksanaan mekanisme pelesenan berpotensi memberi insentif dan menggalakkan pertumbuhan infrastruktur dan dalam sektor pengedaran gas. Syarikat berlesen berpeluang memperuntukkan sumber ke arah peningkatan rangkaian saluran pipe, kemudahan penyimpanan dan infrastruktur tambahan. Usaha ini bertujuan untuk meningkatkan ketersediaan gas untuk pelbagai sektor termasuk industri, perusahaan dan isi rumah. Pelaksanaan pelesenan memupuk persekitaran yang kompetitif di kalangan firma pengedaran gas. Fenomena ini berpotensi untuk menghasilkan tahap kualiti perkhidmatan yang dipertingkatkan, sentiasa dipertingkatkan, strategi harga yang kompetitif dan pembangunan penyelesaian kreatif. Pengguna akan mendapat kelebihan daripada pelbagai pilihan yang diperluas dan perkhidmatan pelanggan yang dipertingkatkan. Perniagaan pengedaran gas yang dikawal selia dan dilesenkan dengan berkesan mempunyai keupayaan untuk menarik pelaburan dan merangsang pertumbuhan ekonomi kerajaan. Pelaksanaan inisiatif ini berpotensi menjana prospek pekerjaan dan memudahkan kemajuan sektor berkaitan termasuk pembuatan petrokimia dan perniagaan berintensifkan tenaga. Pelaksanaan sektor pengagihan gas terkawal berpotensi untuk meningkatkan kebersihan dan kemampanan keseluruhan komposisi tenaga. Gas asli diakui secara meluas sebagai bahan api fosil yang mempamerkan tahap kebersihan yang lebih tinggi dari segi pembakaran jika dibandingkan dengan arang batu dan minyak, sehingga mengakibatkan pengurangan pelepasan gas rumah hijau dan pencemaran udara. Memastikan ketelusan, keadilan dan promosi kepentingan serantau, kesejahteraan penduduk dan kebimbangan alam sekitar adalah aspek penting yang perlu dipertimbangkan dalam proses perlesenan. Keberkesanan manfaat ini sangat bergantung pada pemantauan dan penguatkuasaan keperluan lesen secara berkala. Tan Sri Dato' Amar Speaker, perkara berkaitan hak-hak Sarawak sememangnya menjadi keutamaan kerajaan kita, apatah lagi yang sudah termaktub di dalam Perjanjian Malaysia 1963. Minyak dan gas adalah sumber pendapatan utama Sarawak ketika ini, dan kerajaan Sarawak sudah pun melaksanakan banyak usaha untuk memastikan hak-hak kita terhadap hasil bumi sendiri dikembalikan kutipan keuntungannya dengan setimpal kepada Sarawak. Maka dengan usaha untuk menjaga kepentingan ini, Petros telah ditubuhkan. Petros adalah sebuah syarikat milik kerajaan Sarawak. Ia ditubuhkan pada 2018 dengan tujuan mengawal selia dan membangunkan sumber minyak dan gas di negeri Sarawak. Tan Sri Dato' Amar Speaker, Petros memainkan peranan penting dalam menguruskan rizab minyak dan gas negeri serta menggalakkan dan memudahkan pembangunan sektor tenaga. Syarikat ini bertanggungjawab untuk mengawasi aktiviti huluan dan hiliran seperti penerokaan, pengeluaran, penapisan dan pengedaran sumber minyak dan gas di Sarawak. Salah satu objektif utama Petros Sarawak adalah untuk memaksimumkan penyertaan Sarawak dalam industri minyak dan gas. Ini termasuk memastikan pengagihan faedah yang saksama kepada negeri, rakyatnya dan perniagaan tempatan. Syarikat itu juga memberi tumpuan untuk menarik pelabur, mewujudkan peluang pekerjaan dan mempromosikan pembangunan keupayaan tempatan dalam sektor tenaga. Petros Sarawak bekerjasama rapat dengan Kerajaan Negeri Sarawak dan pihak berkepentingan lain yang berkaitan untuk mengubal dan melaksanakan dasar-dasar yang sejajar dengan rancangan pembangunan ekonomi negeri. Melalui kerjasama strategik dengan pemain industri, Petros menyasarkan untuk mengukuhkan kedudukan Sarawak sebagai pemain utama dalam industri minyak dan gas di Malaysia dan rantau ini. Secara keseluruhannya, Petros Sarawak berfungsi sebagai penjaga sumber minyak dan gas Sarawak, berusaha ke arah pembangunan mampan sektor tenaga dan mengoptimumkan manfaat untuk negeri dan rakyatnya. Oleh itu, kenapa tidak untuk kita berikan kuasa sepenuhnya kepada Petros dalam mengendalikan 100% urusan berkaitan minyak dan gas di Sarawak. Bukan kita mencuri hak orang lain, bukan kita tidak mampu menguruskan hasil bumi sendiri. Biarlah kita sendiri yang membuat keputusan ke atas hak kita. Dengan niat dan tujuan yang baik, pasti segala perancangan sentiasa dipermudahkan. God bless Sarawak. Maka dengan ini, Tan Sri Dato' Amar Speaker telian menyokong penuh usaha pindaan ordinan ini. Sekian, terima kasih.
Member for Balingian.
Thank you, Tan Sri Dato' Amar Speaker, sir. My highest appreciation, sir, for allowing me to participate in this August House debating in the distribution of gas amendment bill, Bill 2023, which was tabled by the Honorable Minister of Utility and Telecommunication and Ahli Dewan Undangan Dun N27 Sebuyau. Even though I have congratulated you personally, let me congratulate Tan Sri Dato' Amar Speaker again for your reappointment on Speaker for Dewan Undangan Negeri. Congratulations, Tan Sri Dato' Amar. The Distribution of Gas Amendment Bill 2023 proposes amendment to Distribution of Gas 2016 in Sarawak. The significant revision include the establishment of gas aggregator, which would be in charge of procuring natural gas from diverse sources for distribution and delivery across Sarawak. It is good for Petros to be the gas aggregator for Sarawak to take full charge of our natural resources, because Petros is a company which is wholly owned by the Sarawak government, having the requisite experience and knowledge in gas distribution, would be appointed as a gas aggregator when the bill is passed and come into force. The bill is definitely a move to further spur development of gas usage in Sarawak. It is hoped that Petros will have future plan to develop a gas pipeline network for the entire state of Sarawak. This will ease the usage of gas by small and medium industries in Sarawak, as well as having pipe gas for household use. A gas pipeline network will further spur investors into Sarawak to develop more industry in the state. This is on the benefit of gas aggregator for Sarawak. So it is hoped also Petros will also look into gas pipeline network to our neighbor Kalimantan to spur the sale of gas into Kalimantan. So with that note, I beg to support the distribution of gas and amendment bill 2023. Thank you.
Member for Tanjung Batu.
Thank you, Tan Sri Dato' Amar Speaker, for giving me this chance to stand before this August House to advocate for the distribution of Gas Amendment Bill 2023, a transformative piece of legislation of our beloved state of Sarawak. Firstly, let me express my deepest gratitude to our YAB Premier, whose visionary leadership continues to guide our state towards unparalleled growth and prosperity. Tan Sri Dato' Amar Speaker, this amendment bill is a crucial step forward in enhancing the gas distribution framework within Sarawak. It signifies our commitment to ensuring that both industrials and consumers have reliable and efficient access to gas, a vital resource for our economy, in particular for an industrial powerhouse like Bintulu. This bill promises to fortify its role as a central hub in our state's economy landscape. The appointment of a gas aggregator, as proposed in this bill, marks a progressive move towards centralizing our gas distribution efforts. This will lead to several key benefits. Number one, enhanced efficiency. By streamlining the distribution process, we can ensure a more consistent and reliable supply of gas, crucial for the smooth operation of business and industrials. Two, economic growth. A robust gas infrastructure will attract more investments, particularly in the industrial sector, spurring economic development and creating job opportunity for Sarawakians. Three, energy security. This bill will strengthen Sarawak energy independence, ensuring a stable and secure supply of gas for future generations. Tan Sri Dato' Amar Speaker, while we champion this bill, we must also remain mindful of its implementation challenges. It is essential to uphold stringent regulatory oversight to ensure compliance with the highest safety standards, particularly in areas where residential zones are in proximity to industrial sites such as Bintulu. Vigilant monitoring and continuous improvement of safety protocols are paramount to protect our citizens. Moreover, we must balance our economic aspirations with our environmental responsibilities. As we expand our gas distribution networks, let us also commit to integrating sustainable practices and technologies, ensuring that our development does not compromise our cherished natural environment. Tan Sri Dato' Amar Speaker, I wish to address an important aspect of this bill that has raised concern among some of our honourable friends: the transparency and accountability in its enforcement. The bill empowers the Minister, with the approval of the Mesyuarat Kedua Negeri, to enact regulations necessary for its effective implementation. This rule-making authority is not just a procedural formality. It's a vital mechanism to ensure that our gas distribution system remains adaptable, responsive, and transparent. Furthermore, we are implementing robust accountability measures. They are designed to ensure that the appointment gas aggregator not only complies with the ordinance, but also operates with the highest degree of transparency and responsibility towards the people of Sarawak. These include regular audits, public reporting, and avenues for grievance to be addressed. The aim and the commitment for the amendment of these bills is to ensure that every step taken under this bill is visible, accountable, and in the best interest of Sarawak. By instilling these measures, we aim to alleviate concerns and reinforce confidence in the bill's implementations, ensuring it serves the people of Sarawak with integrity and fairness. Tan Sri Dato' Amar Speaker, this bill is not just an amendment, it is a bold step towards a future where Sarawak can fully harness its potential in this gas sector. With that, I wholeheartedly support the distribution of gas Amendment Bill 2023. Thank you.
Member for Padungan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to participate in the debate for the amendment bill on the distribution of gas amendment on Ordinance 2023. Mr. Speaker, while I support partly the bill, the ombudsman bill that was tabled yesterday, but for today, in respect of this distribution of gas amendment bill, I oppose the bill. My reason for opposing the bill is that the creation of this aggregator position is redundant. And on the second part of the bill, in respect of the enforcement power or additional enforcement power given to the authority, I'm of the view that currently there is literally no enforcement units in the ministry undertaking the task of distribution of gas. Mr. Speaker, in the statements or the address of the minister when he tabled this bill, he was complaining that there was insufficient supply of natural gas for the state, despite the fact that the state is one of the biggest contributor for the extraction of or production of natural gas in the country. And he attributes the slow economic growth of Sarawak to insufficient supply of gas. However, I do not share that view, and I would like to refer this August House to a media statement which was released in 2021 by Petronas and Petros, whereby it's headed that Petronas and Petros signed MOU on staggered increase of natural gas supply to Sarawak. That was in 2021, and this MOU was the signing of the MOU was witnessed by none other than our Yang Amat Berhormat the Premier, and it stated there that the Petronas and Petros today signed a memorandum of understanding on a staggered increase of natural gas supply to Sarawak for the implementation of projects under the Sarawak Gas Roadmap. And speaking at the ceremony, it was stated that the staggered increase envisaged under the MOU, which would ultimately bring a total domestic gas allocation to 1.2 billion standard cubic feet per day, would not only support the state's aspiration to attract investment from new, higher value-adding industries into Sarawak, but also provide the necessary impetus for further upstream exploration that would strengthen the state's hydrocarbon resource base. Mr. Speaker, I believe that the signing of the MOU, the allocation of the volume of natural gas, although in staggeredly increased, all those were done with the knowledge of the Premier. And the Premier would have known that this amount would be the amount required by the state to push for a faster growth or push for a higher economic growth that is necessary for the state. And in light of that, why is the minister complaining that we are given insufficient allocation? His statement literally contradicts the MOU that was signed by Petros and Petronas. So which is which? I would like to seek clarification. And at the moment, how much of our industry is using, how much gas, natural gas is being used up by the industry in the state? And if the current allocation of gas, natural gas is insufficient, why did our Yang Amat Berhormat the Premier sanction or consent to such a signing ceremony, signing of MOU for the supply stated in the MOU? I think the minister owes this House an explanation. And secondly, Mr. Speaker, we were informed that the Sarawak State Government is proposing to sell 1,000 megawatts of clean electricity or renewable electricity to Singapore.
Member for Padungan.
Yes.
Following this will be the bill on electricity. You can erase this point then. This is on gas, not on electricity.
No, Mr. Speaker. I'm talking about the gas which were required to generate electricity. The amount of gas required to generate electricity to spur our economic growth. That was what was said by...
No, the export to Singapore of
yes,
electricity.
Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, that's not
there is, it shows the contradictory stand of the state. While on the one hand, you say you have excess renewable energy. On the other hand, you say you lack the fuel to spur your economy. So now again, my question, which is which? Do we have excess energy or do we require more energy? And why are we selling the clean energy to Singapore while we use the dirty energy in our state? I think the aggregator that will be appointed will have a responsibility to answer to that. And while many, not many, just now one of the honorable member has mentioned that gas is cleaner than other fossil fuel. I beg to differ, and I would like to quote an article that was published in National Geographic about a recent study about methane in the atmosphere. Natural gas contains mostly of methane gas. And that publication was published in 20th February 2020. I quote here, a potential greenhouse gas, methane's carbon core and hydrogen arms are arranged in a configuration that makes it exceptional at absorbing heat. On a 20-year time scale, a methane molecule is roughly 90 times more effective at trapping heat in the atmosphere than a molecule of carbon dioxide. The greenhouse gas that wields the most control over Earth's future warming in the long term. As these studies have shown, the natural gas is as bad, if not worse, than the other fossil fuel as a source of energy for our state and our industry. Therefore, I would like to caution our government. While our government is striving to reduce greenhouse gas, we are in fact embarking on another source of greenhouse gas which are equally worse, if not equally bad, if not worse, by channeling our industry towards the natural gas direction. Furthermore, why I say that this gas aggregator is a redundant position. The function or the objective of creating this position, i.e. For him to manage or procure natural gas from distribution, supply to any person, plant, facility and premises in Sarawak, develop, expand, manage and maintain gas distribution network. All these tasks can be performed by Petros. Wasn't Petros set up to perform such a task? And why do you need another position created to have overlapping duties? Therefore, and also, how would the creation of this aggregator, all right, increase our bargaining power vis-a-vis the federal government to demand for more supply of gas? Wouldn't that be, couldn't that be done by our Yang Amat Berhormat, the Premier, or by the management of the Petros? By creating such a position, is the government saying that the Petros has so far failed in the task that was mentioned, the task that was supposedly to be part of the responsibility of Petros, and now being assigned to the gas aggregator, which is the position created by this bill? There's so much for the natural gas on the gas aggregator. When we talk about gas distribution, there is natural gas and there's LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. Liquefied petroleum gas is the one that we see in the yellow tong, the green tong, the red tong that are supplied to the household and businesses. I will come to that. For your information, Mr. Speaker, the distribution of LPG, liquefied petroleum gas, was previously under my ministry when I was at the KBDN HEP, Kementerian Perdagangan Dalam Negeri dan Hal Ehwal Pengguna. And that, when the negotiation for the devolution of power was in process, I was involved in the ministries to give feedback, and I fully supported the devolution of power and the devolution of this gas distribution power to the state. And while the power is devolved, the federal government continues to give subsidy on the LPG. For your information, Mr. Speaker, last year, the subsidy on the on liquefied petrol, LPG, nationwide goes up to 3.4 billion. 3.4 billion, i.e. to maintain the price of the LPG 14 kg tong, price of 26.60 cents, the government paid a total of 3.4 billion. That's nationwide. Extrapolated to the population of Sarawak, which is about 10%, it will be about 300 to 400 million for Sarawak. And that is the amount of subsidy given to maintain the price of LPG at this level. And for that, the ministry, because of a lot of leakages, smuggling, the ministry maintained a task force of approximately 3,000 enforcement personnel. Just now, Yang Berhormat from Penting has mentioned that so far until now, the state government has not set up an enforcement unit to enforce against any leakages. Now, Mr. Speaker, even with that 3,000 strong enforcement units, there is substantial leakages of LPG. Now, given that the state have literally no enforcement unit, it is scary to even imagine or think about how much this subsidized LPG is being smuggled out or used for private profit, the leakages. Although the subsidy comes from the federal government. I think the Sarawak government should be responsible enough to set up an enforcement unit that is enforcement unit to prevent further leakages of this LPG. And during my tenure, Mr. Speaker, looking at the time, don't worry. I'll try to keep it within 20 minutes. During my tenure in the KPDN HEP, the total 3,000 enforcement personnel for Sarawak, because of its state, the vast area of the state, there's about 300 to 400 enforcement personnel in Sarawak. And if I look at the list of establishment posts, Senarai Perjawatan, that was tabled 2 days, yesterday, on Monday, under the Kementerian Unit, Kementerian Utility and Telecommunication. There's only a total personnel of 180, and most of them are tasked to do pentadbiran, that means administrative job. So this list of establishment posts further confirm that there is no enforcement personnel, no enforcement unit set up by the state government to prevent any abuse or leakages of the subsidized LPG. Therefore, on that score, I would say I'm of the view that, before we give the ministry further power, let the ministry do something to show that it deserves the power that is given. After all, in the Principal Act, there's a Principal Ordinance. There's sufficient power for the ministry to do its enforcement unit. But before we give further power, let the ministry set up your enforcement units. You need about 300, 400 enforcement officers to take care, and even then, it may not be sufficient given the vast area of Sarawak State. So with that note, I cannot support this bill. Number one, because the aggregator position is redundant, and number two, you can't give power to someone that a unit that has not been set up. It is too premature. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mohammed, we have a short break. Dewan resumes at 12:10.